Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I have four children, so I'm used to people sitting around the table and not paying any attention to me, so it's okay. Welcome to Aquinas College and our reflection event for 2009. Please join me in a warm welcome for our guests and their friends. Each year, Aquinas College takes time to recognize individuals who've made unique contributions to our community and who reflect the values of the college, particularly through their commitment, their vision, service, loyalty, and integrity. This year, we honor a man whose contributions and achievements, particularly in the field of education, have had a huge impact in our community. Tonight, we honor Juan Olivarez. Juan is the former president of Grand Rapids Community College. And an alumnus of Aquinas College. And is currently the president and CEO of the Kalamazoo Community Foundation. The next organization has to pay to clap. You thought you paid to get here, but there's an exit fee as well. We thank Juan for accepting our invitation to be honored this evening and extend a special welcome to his family on this auspicious occasion. Whenever we ask people to do this, it's interesting for me to watch reactions. And those of you who know Juan will understand when I say that he looked surprised, and he thought, well, why would you want to do this for me? And I finally persuaded him that it was a good thing, and that's really one of the reasons that he's here tonight, because of that kind of personality and that kind of reaction to suggestions that he be the center of attention. Let me introduce a few of those who are here tonight to share in this celebration. First and foremost, Mary, his wife of 38 years. Whom he met while attending Aquinas College. All right, man? Well, that applause cost some of you. Juan and Mary have two sons, Elias and his brother Sam. Elias is here. With his wife, Mindy. And he'll share some personal thoughts about his father later tonight. Also with us tonight are Juan's older brother, Al. Also an Aquinas alumnus, and his wife, Lupe. Okay. Among his special guests, from whom we will also hear later, Aquinas trustee Don Burns, a colleague of Juan's who served 25 years as president of Montcalm Community College, also an Aquinas alumnus. And Ed Wagner, a personal friend who worked closely with Juan for many years at Grand Rapids Community College, also an Aquinas alumnus. We're here tonight to celebrate commitment to community and to service. Everything we do at Aquinas is rooted in the Dominican charisms of prayer, education, service, and community. These charisms constitute our core tradition. That's why we select honorees who best reflect the values and mission of the college and its Dominican founders. Each year at about this time, I welcome the new freshman class and try to tell them something about what to expect in their college experience. I try to do this while avoiding cliches. Good luck on that one. But the comments must be interesting enough to prevent the new student and his or her parents from nodding off at their very first college experience. It should be no surprise that the theme for those occasions is almost always the same. but possibly illustrated a little differently from year to year. We're all assembled at that particular time, not just so the students can begin their pursuit of a major or get a job, which is a priority, or even impress their parents as they blossom into independent adults. The students are there because they're beginning the process of building a foundation for the quality of life that they seek and expect. We clearly believe that education is an absolute essential for improving the quality of life, not just of the student, but of the community as well. Through his career as a classroom teacher, counselor, college administrator, and college president, Juan has worked tirelessly to provide this essential education and this opportunity to anyone who sought it, with no exception. One could see the passion and commitment in his eyes when he spoke of his work with the National Literary Council established by President Bush. As president of Grand Rapids Community College, he led the institution through a period of growth in terms of both facilities and enrollment that expanded educational opportunities to a growing population base. I recently had the opportunity to hear an address by Dr. Stephen Ender, Juan's successor, and he remarked that he became interested in moving to this position because Grand Rapids Community College was recognized as one of the premier community colleges in the country. Such an endorsement by a peer speaks quite directly and eloquently to his leadership. It's this commitment to education, community, and service, supported by faith, that make Juan an appropriate recipient of the Reflection Award tonight. So thank you, Juan, on behalf of the college. I hope you and Mary will enjoy this evening as much as those who have gathered here to celebrate with you. As I mentioned earlier, we'll hear from some people as we move along, but Juan asked the Honorable George Hartwell to deliver tonight's invocation. The two have known one another for more than 20 years. They have collaborated on many community issues, and Juan noted that the mayor's long-time commitment to community service and in the service and pursuit of equity was one of the qualities that he wanted reflected in this event tonight, and I think he found the right guy to do that. Mayor Hartwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Would you join your hearts to mine in prayer, please? All glory be to you, Lord God, and all thanks and praise. The creation echoes our praise in the magnificence of sunshine and fair weather, the close of summer and the advent of multicolored fall. We look around and find you ever present in the world around us. We seek you as well in the faces of our neighbor, the one who cries out in need and the one who answers that cry. In poor and in rich, in every tone of race, in young and in old, all are made in your image, and would that all might seek to perfectly reflect your likeness. Your people gather in your name this evening to celebrate a life well lived. We give you thanks for our brother Juan. Through his life, he has sought to serve you by serving others. Thus, in his actions and by his words, your kingdom is made evident in our midst. Thus, in his actions and by his words, you, mighty God, walk among us. Continue to bless Juan and Mary and their family. May the blessings of all creation be theirs, and may the good that they do come back to them in gratitude and love. Now bless this institution, those who learn, those who teach, and those who administer. Bless our time this evening. Fill it with celebration, color it with gratitude, and send us from here into the world to practice compassion and to do justice. You are one God, mighty and merciful, now and eternal. Amen.
Thank you, George. Please enjoy tonight's dinner, and we will hear from some friends of Juan as the evening moves along. This, of course, is exactly the same meal that the students got in the cafeteria tonight. And we should mention the wonderful music that we enjoyed, the mariachi music earlier, and the Robin Connell Ensemble through dinner. In my line of work, I do a lot of welcoming comments, and usually what welcoming comments are the opportunity for me to say something, people to hear something coming over a speaker while everybody settles down, and then they can get on to the important stuff. So what we'll do now is move into some of the important stuff and take a few moments to recognize and ask members of the Honorary Reflection Event Committee, whose names are listed in your program, to stand at this time and be recognized, please. Let's stand up. Thank each of you for your support and participation in this event. We also want to acknowledge tonight's sponsors who are listed in your program. Their participation has assured the success of tonight's tribute, and we couldn't have done it without their support, so thank you very much. So without further ado, I think we need to hear from our first speaker, who is described by Juan as a valued colleague, whom he has known since he became president of Grand Rapids Community College in 1999. At that time, Don Burns was the president of Montcalm Community College, and in the years that followed, they two worked together on higher education issues throughout the state, forging a collaborative relationship that's continued beyond their days as those institutions' presidents. Early on, they found they had something else in common that I noted earlier. Both of them are graduates of Aquinas, and it's from that background of mutual respect and admiration for the values and the spirit of those educational issues that bring the two of them together again tonight. So please welcome 1964 Aquinas alumnus and college trustee, Don Burns.
Thank you, President Balog, Mayor Hartwell, many Aquinas friends here, and Dr. Olivarez and his family. I feel a little challenged because I was told earlier that this is not a roast, but just briefly I was told that. But Juan just came over and reminded me this is not a roast. As Dr. Balog indicated, we worked together as community college presidents for about a decade, but somehow it seemed like we were connected earlier than that. When I found out a little bit about Juan and his background and farm roots, his Catholic family, his years at Aquinas, there's quite a bit that we shared. And I recognize this as we worked as college presidents because there was sort of a kindred spirit there. When you get a group of college presidents together, there were 28 of us, there was not always a lot of agreement, but Juan and I generally seemed to be on the same page. But there were some other connections that we had. Actually, before Juan and I even knew it, we were somewhat connected. One of my younger sisters came to, all of my sisters came to Aquinas College, but when one of them, Julie, came here, her first date at Aquinas College was with Juan Olivarez. She didn't ask me. And Julie, I guess, didn't fall in love with him and marry him and that sort of thing, but she did fall in love with and marry his running mate and his roommate, Mike Devereaux. And the two of them have been in education for many years since. When I asked for a little bit of information about Juan, because I figured when I was asked to do this, I thought, well, I need a little information. You can't believe all that was sent to me. And I'd love to read all this to you, but you really don't want to hear all this. So I'm just going to focus just ever so much on just a couple thoughts. About a decade ago, a little more than a decade ago, the American community colleges and the trustees of the community colleges put together a paper to describe what was necessary in the 21st century to be successful as community colleges. And it was really pretty simple. It said you had to be connected with your students, within your staff, and with your community. That's a pretty simple thing to do. And so the leadership was really responsible for doing that sort of thing. In order to do that, it's also not all that complicated. As a matter of fact, I just recently, this past year, read a book by Stephen Covey, the junior, not the senior, called The Speed of Trust. And it really describes all you really have to do if you want an organization to really flourish is enhance trust in the organization. And I don't mean naive trust. I mean trust that's built upon character and built upon competence. So that's just an observation about what makes colleges work and what makes one do well in a leadership role. One of the fun things for me, because as a matter of fact, when Juan became president, I'd been a president for 15 years. Over the years, I saw lots of presidents come and go. Some went quickly. Some chose to go. Some didn't. But there was never a hesitation when Juan started in the presidency at Grand Rapids Community College. Why? Because I've just described to you in very simple terms what's needed in a leadership role, and Juan brought that to the table. He brought it with him, so he was confident when he arrived. He really didn't flounder. He was ready to go, and he made a terrific difference. It was not difficult for him to have a good, positive relationship with students. He had wonderful relationships with people who weren't students, but he knew they could be and encouraged them. He had wonderful relationships with the staff at Grand Rapids Community College and with the community. But why could he do that? He could do that because of the two items I talked about earlier. Trust, what is it built upon? Character and competence. Oh, he's a character. Character and competence. He had those, and he has those in spades. It was just a natural when he came together to be the president of that college. Now, did he do all of this as a president, connecting with students and connecting with the community and building relationships? Is it just because he's just a naturally great guy? Is it because of the strong family Catholic roots that he comes from? Is it because of his time at Aquinas? And I guess if this were a multiple choice test, the answer wouldn't be A, B, or C. It would be D, all of the above. This is what made Juan what he is. Now, I've described why he did so well and his coming to Grand Rapids Community College, and I guess the rest is sort of history. Not only did he flourish at Grand Rapids Community College, but he flourished within this broader community. And many of you may not have known how much he was respected in Lansing and around the state for his leadership roles, and probably wouldn't know at all the national commissions and the respect he had at that level. So the new president that's here from Grand Rapids would know about Grand Rapids because he knew about Juan. So we at the table, those who had to speak, said, well, we're all going to be saying the same thing. He's a nice guy. But this is a perspective, at least, that I hope I'm uniquely bringing here. And now we're sort of kindred spirits again, both retired. We've talked about that a little bit, although I will say that Juan's probably done it the right way. He has another job and another title and so on, and I just retired. And I have to tell you, because this just happened, I retired and family got together. We took a little vacation, and I have a 3-year-old grandson, and he's very outgoing. He loves to walk up to people and say, hi, I'm Louis Burns, and shake hands. So we were up at Portage Point having a nice little guy, and I saw him do that, and I sort of walked by, and he not only likes to do that, he likes to introduce other people. So as I walked up, he turned to his little friend, and he said, and this is my grandpa, and he doesn't do anything. You'll never end up there, Juan. I know you won't. Once again, I just want to say how much I appreciate the fact that I was asked to do this and to participate in this process. This has just been wonderful. I'm proud to have been your colleague for many years, and I think I'm most happy to consider you a good friend. And so I wish you, Mary, and your family all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Our next speaker is also no stranger to the college. Ed Wagner is a 1961 alumnus. He first met Juan while serving as principal at West Catholic High School, but it wasn't until 1991, when they both began working at the community college, that their relationship really began to bloom. They became good friends and trusted advisors, each for the other. And when Juan became president, he asked Ed to be his executive assistant. Their friendship solidified and has never been stronger. Last year, Juan was here when Aquinas College honored Ed Wagner as its Outstanding Alumnus of the Year for his many years of service and contributions to education in the Grand Rapids community. So it's fitting that Ed has come here this evening to return the favor as we honor his friend, Dr. Olivarez. So please join me in welcoming Ed Wagner.
Thank you, Doctor. What a great audience here. The mayor is here, a lot of my former students, my pastor. In fact, I told Father Mark Shibish, who's my pastor, I said, you have to listen to me now. Sit down. For 52 weeks every year, I have to listen to you. And I may not be any better than you, but you have to listen. They told me I only had 3 to 5 minutes, but to tell an educator they have 3 to 5 minutes is impossible. The only thing about 3 to 5 minutes that educators know, it's the time between classes. So if a bell doesn't ring, I'll probably just continue to speak. In 1991, I had retired from the Catholic secondary schools, and West Catholic High School was just mentioned. And at that time, I was provided an opportunity by then President Dick Calkins to join him at the newly created Grand Rapids Community College as his executive assistant. It was there that I really first got to know Juan Olivarez. We knew each other, but I never really got to know him. I remember vividly sitting next to him on that July 1st, first day of the community college, in Dick Calkins' conference room with 8 newly appointed administrators. And we were trying to figure out how we were going to make this thing work. Even though prior to that time we had lived only less than 2 miles apart on the west side of Grand Rapids, where I thought everyone knew each other, we really never connected much. But we not only worked together, we soon became very good friends. He was the Dean of Research and Development at the time. 7 years later, Dick Calkins retired, and a search began to replace him. His replacement ended up being my friend, Juan Olivarez. I still had the same position as executive assistant and wondered how our relationship would be now that he had this new position and how it would affect our relationship as friends. It didn't at all. In fact, we probably became even closer. He's always remained calm in any situation I observed him in. And I experienced this quite shortly after we started at the college, and Juan will remember this. He and I had been traveling together that first summer to Dick Calkins' cottage. You remember. Just the two of us in a car, and we were going to meetings with this newly formed administrative team. Well, I was responsible also for bringing the food for the 2 days meetings, including breakfast for that day. Well, we became engaged in conversation and got off the path to his cottage. I didn't want to be late for the first meeting, and I had all the breakfast food. So we went rather fast on Highway 55. And through it all, Juan never moved. Now, I credited it for him, a character value of being very calm. He might have been scared to death. But as we sped down the road, and thank God there weren't any police around, Juan never said a word. He remained cool as a cucumber. I soon learned that that was really part of his character. He never got excited or angry in any kind of a stressful situation. He's a person of so many sound characteristics and high values that reflect the award that he's going to receive tonight. It's difficult to know where to begin with him. He certainly has influenced many people and our entire community in general. He's committed to whatever he undertakes. He constantly has been concerned about and served the needs of others. He has a tremendous work ethic, and he usually makes very sound and well thought out decisions. He's never overreacted to any situation, which I think is a quality every good leader should possess. Now, Juan was a little nervous earlier. He says, I hope you didn't talk to any of my roommates. Well, I wouldn't do that, Juan. You know that. But I do have an advantage. I do happen to know that Juan displayed many of those qualities when he was a student here at Aquinas. I learned that by being with a few of his classmates every summer for the last 20 years on an annual golf trip to northern Michigan. So I didn't need to call them. I heard all the stories. They would reminisce about their days at Aquinas. In addition, because they knew my relationship with Juan, they would always tell stories about Juan as well. And the stories really reflect what he's earning this award about. He had these skills a long time ago. I heard how he would let his roommate, Jack Banyan, in through the window of the dorm on many nights, or I should say many mornings, as Jack missed the curfew often. This was an early sign that he was always being helpful and trying to serve his fellow man. David Rodriguez, who later became a board member and resigned before Juan could become president because they had too much of a past and he knew what that was about. He told another story on how committed Juan was to his studies. He and his brother Al, who's here tonight, were the first in their family to go to college. So they wanted to make sure that they did well when they were here. So they'd study every night while their buddies went out at night in the basement of St. Joseph's Worker Hall. Well, when the grades came out at the end of the semester, Juan had done so well, and he was a roommate of Juan's, David joined them the second semester in the basement of St. Joseph's Hall. Certainly a display of his commitment, hard work, and certainly influencing others by example. They all echoed how bright Juan was when he was here at Aquinas. Ron Green, one of his friends and colleagues, had a different slant. He told the story of Juan hitchhiking back from Gary, Indiana. And as he got a ride and they were driving down the road, the driver said, my antenna's broke. He said, will you reach out and fix the antenna? And Juan did, and in the process, his glasses fell off and he never found his glasses. Well, Ron said that only proved one thing, that even bright people make dumb mistakes. Another classmate, Bill Cheevers, summed it up best when he said, Juan was more angelic and responsible than his buddies. His compassion, his collaboration, and leadership skills are tremendous, and he certainly is a visionary. A prime example is his creation of Delta Strategies along with Mayor Hartwell. That was a community effort to help the less fortunate in the West Michigan area. Also, after Grand Rapids had incorporated quality initiative over many years, he envisioned and then led the college to eventually earn the Michigan Quality Award for Grand Rapids Community College. And that's the first time an educational institution has won that award that's usually reserved for business enterprises. And I understand that when he was still there, they were anticipating going after the Baldridge Award. Quite an accomplishment, but it's due to his leadership. He's been a champion of many causes, among them diversity and certainly literacy, holding the positions nationally. Through all of his accomplishments, he's really never changed as a person. He's always been very kind and respectful in his relationship with others, both professionally and personally. You know, even when he reprimanded people, can you imagine Juan reprimanding someone? You know, it usually ended up with something like, let's use this as an educational experience. And they all felt positive when it was all done. Elaine McCormick, who's still the assistant secretary, probably knows what I'm talking about, as I well do. I had a lot of educational experiences with Juan. You know, he's probably the second kindest person I've ever known in my life. He's probably the most respectful person I've ever known in his life. The only one that surpasses him is his wife, Mary. And that's not a bad thing to be second place for. Mary and his family have always been important to Juan. And now that he's a grandpa, and I understand again, this November, Mindy and Elias are going to have their second child. There's even more for him to share his love with. He's lived the values he was taught as a student at Aquinas, and I would suggest that he might be considered as a poster boy for this Reflection Award. Grand Rapids and the rest of West Michigan is better off because of his efforts in the community. I would like to congratulate Juan and applaud Aquinas for recognizing him. He is indeed a shining star among many successful Aquinas graduates. Congratulations, Juan.
Thank you, Ed. Our final speaker for this evening introduces another element to this celebration, family observations. And we all know that the pitfalls involved in those. As Juan's oldest son, Elias Olivarez, was given a special window from which to observe his father's life within their family. Tonight he joins us to share some personal thoughts, some of which come from that special relationship that develops between a father and son. So please join me in welcome Elias Olivarez.
Hello. Ed, I don't know about the educational experiences, but I know about reprimands. Many years of reprimanding. You know, as I got ready tonight, there's been countless times that I've put on a tie over my lifetime so far, but I was reminded again tonight that it was my dad that taught me how to tie my first tie. And it wasn't just that experience, but I remember the way he did it. I remember how he spoke to me when he did it, where we were standing, just everything about it. And that's the way he always was. You know, it was very memorable, the time that we spent together, and he was very busy from when I was very young. And yet he still made time to spend quality time with me that I carry with me forever. I remember back in 1983, he took me to see my first movie at Studio 28. We saw Return of the Jedi. And every Sunday, for as far back as I remember, as his office has changed, I still went with him wherever his office was. And that kind of showed me that no matter how busy he was, he always had time for me in his life. And it's those values that I take with me now, having a young son, and now we have a daughter on the way, that I hope I can carry over to my children, because that's very important to me. And tonight when I was asked to talk, it proved to be one of the most difficult things that I've had to do. Because typically I can get up there and say something or other, but I started to put things down on paper, what I wanted to talk about, and think about it in my head, and all of a sudden I felt like there were these boundaries. I put words down and there were boundaries, and to talk about the relationship with my dad, it's just endless. There's no boundaries to the relationship I feel we have now. Words I couldn't find did it. I have so many ideas of what to talk about in my head, but all it comes down to is the values he's given me, the time he's given me. And to talk at large about family values, I can't do that, like Ed said, without including my mom. Because the two of them together is all I know. I have distinct memories of both of them with the little things like movies and tying ties and answering the phone and all those types of experiences. But what I know as a whole and what my family values are come from them as one unit. And there's nothing greater than me to say that they're my parents. I'm at a loss for words. It took me so long to figure out what to say, and I'm just winging it tonight, so please forgive me. It's the two of them together that I've watched share in successes, both my dad's and my mom's. You know, for everything my dad's accomplished, it's been that much better because my mom has been there. She's shared in his successes, shared in his frustrations, a lot of times because of me and my brother. And he's shared in hers, and they've supported each other, and I've seen that happiness, and it was their love together that helped create the values I looked for in a wife before I even knew I wanted a wife. And it also helped me to realize that when I never thought I'd ever get married, never wanted to get married, to not let that one get away. So that's something I can never thank them for enough. As far as what he does for the community, everyone here probably knows. We can all say the same thing, and it all comes back to, you know, what a great person he is. But I can recall a question that was asked of me a few years ago. The Grand Rapids Press was doing the Sunday profile on my dad. So the reporter in charge called me up, and I was on my way to get on a cruise ship, actually, and I had to kind of step aside and take the call. And, you know, they wanted some quotes and some ideas about my dad, something to put in there. And there was one question that stood out that I still take with me because it's something that I already knew, but I guess I'd never really put into focus because it was just commonplace for me. She asked me, did I ever feel any pressure to do any certain thing or succeed in any certain way given the success of my father? And without hesitation, I said, no, you know, never. And then we moved on. But then I thought about that later and how I answered so quick and what that actually meant. And it really, you know, again, put it right center stage for me that there was never any pressure for my mother or father to do any certain thing, be an executive, be a doctor, be an engineer. There was just do what you want to do and do well at it. If you want to do something, work hard at it. And all they ever wanted to do was provide me the opportunity to do that. You know, it was never, you have to do this, this is your career path. It's like, find your own way, we're going to do whatever we can to help you get there. So when I think back on everything he's done over his 37 years with public schools, GRCC, and probably even before that with the roommates and everyone else in college, that's how he always approached everything. It was that simple notion that he did whatever he could through all the politics they're involved in, all the meetings, all the conferences, all the trips. All of that worked up to the simple fact that it was all to provide the opportunity to all the young people that he came in contact with to take that opportunity and do whatever it is they wanted to do with that. And beyond that, he understood that there was nothing more he could do. It was up to them. He let people be themselves and find their own way, and if they did something with it, great. He had a hand in that. If they didn't, you know, then, well, they didn't take that opportunity. But I thought about that for a long time and realized it was just that simple. That's what he did. He works very hard, and the work that he does is very complex, but it still comes down to a simple notion that he's just there to help people and do whatever he can. And, you know, like I said, there is not enough good words I can say about him, but the way our family has always been with each other is we don't need words because we just know it. So, congratulations, Pop.
Dr. Baylog, Mayor, guests, I'm not a planned speaker, but I was compelled to say something. But it'll be very short. The family is certainly very proud of Juan, of what he has accomplished. And I just wanted to share something that has come to mind when we were at Aquinas. And maybe Mary was with me, where he wanted to quit. And I said, what? You want to quit? And this is when both were at Aquinas. I think he was a freshman. And we asked him, sophomore? Thank you. And yeah, time going. So asked him why, and they said, well, or where do you want to go? And he said, the military. Well, thank God you didn't go to the military. Thank goodness you stayed with the education. But this is what Aquinas did, for one. It certainly provided grants for him to afford to continue his education. It provided grants. It's also provided role models to Juan. The professors here were mentors. They taught Juan to study, encouraged him to stay in school, the importance of education, which is very important. And also it provided commitment for him to graduate from Aquinas College. And it opened a lot of doors for him, his mind. It certainly provided the vision for him to continue in education, a career in education. And it certainly enhanced a service of giving back to what was given to him by the mentors of Aquinas and the professors and the administration of Aquinas College. And that's why education means so much to Juan, and why those values he shares with students. So thank you, Aquinas, for bestowing this honor on Juan. We thank you. And congratulations, bro. We love you.
Juan joins a special group of people who've received this Reflection Award since it was first presented in 1993, and we're honored to have some of them with us here tonight. And here comes one of the great throwaway lines of all time in an event like this. I'm supposed to say, please hold your applause until all of our attending recipients have been recognized. Now, you will all do that, I suppose, right? Bob Israels in 2006. Kate Walters, 2004. Marty Allen in 2003. Peter Cook in 2002. Dr. Luis Tomatis in 2001. And our first recipient, Sister Aquinas Weber, in 1993. Chuck and Stella are here. Chuck and Stella Royces, who had possibly the most memorable event when they received the award, sitting in the rain. Singing in the rain, thank you very much. Wish I'd thought of that. We again express all of our appreciation to all of you for continuing to be the examples in our community that are exemplified by this award. This has been a truly wonderful evening, and we thank those of you who have spoken fondly of Juan. And now it's time to make the presentation. For that, I'd ask Juan to come forward and join me at the podium to receive the award. When Aquinas began planning its first Reflection Award 16 years ago, the planning committee chose a mirror as the gift that would be presented each year to honorees. As was mentioned earlier, this mirror serves to remind our honorees that their gifts of time and resources to the community are a reflection of the values that Aquinas holds dear. Values of commitment, vision, service, loyalty, and integrity. And with that, Juan, we congratulate you and extend a sincere thank you for all of the good that you have done for our community. Thank you. I really, so many people have said so many nice things. I have to tell you something that's not so nice. Some of you in here were fortunate enough to have attended Juan's retirement party from the community college. And one of the memorable events from that night was the writing of new lyrics to the song Guantanamera. You remember that? Well, every time I hear your name now, that song drives me crazy for the rest of the day because I substitute the words Juan Olivarez for Guantanamera, and I'll never forgive you for that.
Can I ring your head?
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. I'm not going to sing that. Well, this is very humbling to be here tonight, and not only what I've heard, but just to have all of you present. It's amazing, and I hope I can get through this, because it did all start here at Aquinas in terms of my career and my path and my love for community. And I can't but thank Aquinas for this honor tonight. I can't thank you more than as Elias said, I can't find the words to thank you for yet another recognition. I appreciate that. And to have you here present and enjoying life the way we can is incredible for all of us, not just because of why you're here, but because we can. And we can't forget that we're very fortunate in this world to be here tonight, to celebrate the many things that we have and the many things that we allow others to do because of us. And so thank you, Aquinas, for all of the things that you've taught me. And I want to make sure that I recognize Dr. Ed Balog, who has been a colleague when we had our president's group before Ed became president. He was interim, and got together with the area presidents, and we had a lot of good conversations through the years. And also, thank you tonight for the great admiration from Sister Aquinas, who has been so supportive. I can't thank you enough, Sister, for your support through the years and your wanting this evening to come about. Thank you to the Development Office, the Alumni Office. They do a lot of work for this event. And to all the servers, I really enjoyed having the student ambassadors here tonight. It's always great to see them involved. And it takes me back to when I was a student here, because I used to work the events to make a little cash. And I loved it, and I think I got to all of the students and said hello. It's great to have them involved. I also want to thank tonight for being here, specifically a couple of groups. One is certainly my Grand Rapids community, which is just about everybody here. And that includes friends and colleagues and neighbors and even some old classmates that went to Aquinas when I did, and it's very, very nice. I was hoping somebody would show up, and I appreciate you all did. I also want to thank my GRCC family, who table 11 over there, and I appreciate you being here. That really means a lot to me. Thank you for the support, and I want to recognize Dr. Stephen Ender, who is also here tonight, the new president of GRCC, and many of you may not know him, but thank you. I also want to thank my new family in Kalamazoo, and representing Kalamazoo is my Board of Trustees chair, Barbara James, and her husband, Jerry. Thank you for being here. I also want to thank and start with, in terms of some other members I want to thank in my family, but I want to start with Mary. Because she is my true north. There's no question about that. We've been dating for 41 years, and 38 of those have been in marriage, and that's been great. We met here, you heard that, at Aquinas, And I want you to know, dear, that I dated Julie my freshman year. You didn't come till my sophomore year. She kind of gave me that look, you know. Did I know about this? We have fond memories of this campus and of the great community that was established here when we were students, and the effort the faculty and the staff and the Dominican sisters took to make sure that it was a community and that our values were not just read about in books, but that we actually lived them, and the experiences that they gave us out into the community, the broader community, in fact, some international experiences. We have great friends from the time we were here. They're still friends, and we get together with them, and some of our best friends are people that we met right here at Aquinas. Thank you, dear, for being with me all these years, and you have been the true star. Thank you. Al, the impromptu speaker, I didn't ask him to speak because I didn't want to put any pressure on him. Our mother just had a stroke, and I knew that between our travel and everything, it would be too much. But thank you, bro, for coming up and saying a few words. It was because of Al that I came to Aquinas. Al came to Aquinas on a cross-country track scholarship, a full ride, I might ask. I had to mop floors and do events. But he was the star here at Aquinas, and it was, as Al said, Aquinas did a whole lot for me, and one of those was to help me appreciate education, and that is why I'm so passionate about it, and why I know we can turn people around. I wasn't going to go to college, and when my senior counselor insisted that I go to college, I said, what about Aquinas? Al's there. And so that's why I came to Aquinas, and the rest is history. And thanks, bro, for all you've done for me throughout the years and for introducing me to Aquinas. My great sons, Elias, who you just heard from, and my other son, Sam, is where he should be, in school. Classes started this week. He attends Columbia College in Chicago, and I told him he could not come tonight. I need him to graduate. So he is here in spirit, and I have two wonderful sons, and Mary and I are very proud of them. And I know tonight my parents are also here in spirit. They are in Texas and in a nursing home, and I know that they've always been with us from the very first time we dropped off Al here at Aquinas. There wasn't even an expressway all the way up here, and we used to have to go the back roads, and my dad hated that. It seemed like a 24-hour trip because he hated to make that travel. So in my one of my years there, he got us a car so he wouldn't have to come back and forth. Let me spend just a minute in thanking the other speakers. I'm very, very pleased that Ed and Don accepted my invitation to say a few words. I thought I would be safe with them. I did tell them it was not a roast. We've had that. Right, Mike? But thank you, guys. You were selected because I feel that you are really exemplary of what Aquinas produces. And I was honored to have been in your company for these past years, and thank you for saying a few words on my behalf, and I truly appreciate it. It's wonderful. Thank you. And Mr. Mayor, thank you for accepting my invitation to do the invocation. You are quite a man, and I look up to you. I always have, even when you didn't know it, before we were in Leadership Grand Rapids. And you are the greatest community builder I have ever met, and I really did want you to be here because that's what this is about, and that is what Aquinas is about. And you don't have to go to Aquinas to be a strong community leader. And we certainly have one in our mayor, and we're very, very fortunate. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to also, in terms of a speaker, say to my son Elias, He is my firstborn, and probably your firstborn has always got something a little bit advantage over the others. And he certainly inspires me. I can't believe sometimes that he's my son because his character is so strong and his values are so strong. And I hope I helped, and I know Mary helped for sure. He has very strong family ethics. The way I see him with his own family, he is an unbelievable father, husband, son, and grandson. He does incredible things. He and I just went to see my mother when she had her stroke, and I couldn't help but be touched by the way he stroked her forehead, combed her hair, and just spoke to her, though we didn't know if she could hear us. And I'm very proud of him, and please frequent Jersey Junction because he and Mindy own it, so keep visiting. I'm very proud of him. Thank you, Elias. So what does this evening mean to me? Very simply, it's about the students. It's why we're here. This is an event to support students coming to Aquinas, and I'm very appreciative that in some way I could help by being here tonight and encourage all of you to be here and be sponsors and contribute to the students who will be coming to Aquinas in the future. And we all know how important education is in these days and how we have to get everybody educated. And it's certainly more true today than when I started at Aquinas in 1967. So it is about the students, and the only thing I could think about tonight was not about what I did or accomplished, but it's because of the students, and I hope that you can, with me, celebrate students before the end of the night and believe that education is the only way that this country, our communities, our families will be able to make a difference in the world. And so we've got to all work towards that, and we've all got to be a part of it. And tonight is certainly that. Thank you again, Aquinas. You have truly changed my life. I love this community. I love my new community in Kalamazoo because community is community, and it all works the same. And it's about building community that's what's important because people are people. And so thank you for all you've given me, and thank you for this honor tonight. I have had an incredible journey in my career, and I continue that path and hope to keep doing what I can. I've always done my best, and I'll continue doing my best, working with others and for others. So I'm humbled. I can hardly believe it. I couldn't believe the tents when I came this evening. I thanked God for no rain. I know what happened last year, and though it wouldn't have mattered because you're here. So thank you. I appreciate it. Hasta pronto, and good night.
Thank you, Juan. There really is nothing else anyone can add to that. You can see, I think, why it was an easy choice to honor Juan tonight. Now, please welcome Chancellor Emerita, Sister Aquinas Weber, for tonight's benediction.
Lord our God, as this day and this celebration draw to a close, we are grateful for your divine presence among us and for all those who came to honor Dr. Juan Olivarez. We ask your blessing on all gathered here for this festive occasion, and we thank all those who made this evening possible: campus safety, advancement staff, food service, public relations, and setup crew. And now, And now guide family and friends safely home and shield and protect them from any harm. You, our God, be their special escort. In your name we pray. Amen.
I think we should point out that with a portion of the proceeds from this event tonight, Aquinas College will establish the Juan Olivarez Endowed Scholarship that will provide financial support to Grand Rapids Community College students wishing to continue their education at Aquinas College. So I want to thank you all again for coming, for helping us make this such a memorable evening for Juan and his family. We hope to see you again next year. Drive safely and good night.